That time again. Hello, everybody. It is time for Tao of the Day. I'm your host, Martin John, and I'm excited. I don't know. Tomorrow morning, just so everybody knows, I will be flying out again. So I will be doing another very early Tao of the Day. But right now, I want you guys to get in line and get ready to get your Tao down. It's you and I in the morning. We are here to talk the Tao Te Ching. So, what is the Tao Te Ching? The Tao Te Ching is a ancient text written about 600 BCE by Lao Tzu, or not. There's a lot of stories around that. Who is Lao Tzu, and is he just a person to say did it? That's cool. Like, all of those things are possible, but we're going to bring Lois up and we're going to read a Tao for her day. Lois, my girl,
Hey,
how you
my
doing,
God.
girl?
I'm good. I'm good. I missed you yesterday.
Yeah, I was on for 3 hours yesterday.
Man, my thing was I'm on vacation and I don't get a chance. I'm just sitting in my car to bed to sit here, get up here because it's early.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up early in my house, but this ain't my house. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
I hate that, because I'm an
So I
early
couldn't get
riser
on.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's kind of been, so I'm having to go in the backyard. Oh, I want to answer this one. But
yeah.
anyway, I'm thinking 45. That just popped in my head as I said it.
That's the best. That's the best when we can just get ourselves out of the way and pick something. All right, here we go. 45, and we're doing the same translation we did yesterday, the Hogan translation. So,
Okay.
the greatest achievements may look like mistakes, but you will always be able to build upon them. The fullest reserves may seem empty, but you will always be able to draw upon them. The straightest line may look crooked. The most skilled people come off as clumsy. The most eloquent people are usually silent. When it's cold, you can move around and stay warm. When it's hot, you should keep still and stay cool. But whatever the weather, if you stay calm, the world will sort itself out around you.
Wow. I needed that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
What do
say
you?
I needed that because
Yeah.
I'm trying to maintain vibration around people who are not necessarily positive.
Yeah.
And every time they say something negative, I have to say something positive because I don't want to get it. And then it feels, or it don't feel like me I'm arguing, but to tell them you're arguing about everything. No, I'm not. And I'm thinking I'm just saying something positive. Everything you say negative, you know.
Well,
So this,
here we go. Like, I hear that, and I want to remind you that
okay.
they may have negative things going on with them, but if it's not within you,
Uh
it
huh.
cannot penetrate you.
Oh, but you know what? And I know, and
You do know that,
I do know this, but
but it's
because
scary because you don't
no,
want to go back.
it's not even scary. It's the fact that Um, my thing is, been in a different vibration for the last 3 4 months. Okay,
Yeah,
like I said before, I even came on this app, and so this my best friend, and we've been best friends for 27 years. So it's not like it's an easy fix, you
yeah,
know, because they're valuable. They've been there through the whole shit and caboodle. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's kind of like it's not that easy because of the fact that they've been there, and I'm trying to remain neutral in that balance. With you talked about everything is back. Okay, this is there, but this is there, but this is there. So I know
yeah.
that this person supports me totally in everything that I do. Okay, so I gotta find some way to navigate around it. So I'm out of here doing Ho'oponopono meditation in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
to
you
keep
got to do
me
what you got to do.
my vibration right, and and I feel challenged. I really feel challenged right now,
Good, good.
and I know that means it's growth time.
Yeah,
And I'm supposed to be excited, but I didn't expect like ooh. This has
yeah,
been like whoa, and I understand it. I'm not walking on eggshells. I'm still being me, but I'm
good.
not. I'm not engaging. I'm not getting engaged
Right.
but it's proven to feel like it's okay. This is kind of like quiet but hostile type of
Yeah.
thing.
And you're gonna wanna like focus right underneath your rib cage.
Okay,
You
all
know,
right.
that space right underneath your rib cage. When you talk, or when they talk and they're getting all like, negative and stuff, you want to
Mhm.
focus on that space beneath your rib cage, above your belly button, beneath your rib cage. You want to
Okay.
just focus on that area right there, and you want to ask that area. You want
Mm.
to ask that area like, like can you let them do this without saying anything?
Okay. All
You know,
right.
can you just ask that area? Don't ask your head. Just ask
Mm-hmm.
that area right underneath your rib cage. Just like that's your solar plexus. There's a lot there. And when we get emotional, we move a little further down into that like fight or flight. But if we can ask that area in your solar plexus, hey, can you just let her be without having to say something
But you know
positive?
what?
Because
That's so funny. It's so funny is I did do that the couple of first
it's
couple of days,
natural.
and
Yeah.
it was fine. And it was fine. Like I said, and there's
Good.
nothing wrong now.
Right.
I'm just
No,
getting out
no, she's
ahead of
sleeping.
it.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
getting
good.
out ahead. I've been sleeping my ass off. Okay,
Good.
so I'm trying. This call is to get out ahead of it because I know I got things I got to do today, and I got to make some moves, and I need to be in the right vibration to do what I got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So right now, because I know that because remember I told you I ate something wrong because
Mm,
my body's been weakened. It makes
mhm.
it's like it make your energy. Boy, it depends on so much. It depends on what you eating. It depends on what's going
What
on
you're
in your
thinking.
environment, what you're
Yeah.
thinking, and stuff like that. So I'm trying to stay in a proactive thought pattern,
Yeah.
okay, so that nothing, boom, he catch me up. No, and I understand.
That's right.
And eventually, I'm gonna have this conversation again because I've had this conversation so many times that I can't
Oh.
play into the negative because my physical body don't want to play those games anymore. And I told my body, I said, okay, I got you. And I always talk to my body. It's like, okay, stomach, I got you. You don't have to respond extra because I already know you ate the wrong food, but you don't have to
Yeah.
respond extra because of this. And like I said, I didn't recognize I was talking to my solar plexus because that's where I put my hand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was. I guess that was because that was on instinct, and I've been able to remain calm and not engage.
That's right.
But yesterday, I wasn't. There was no engagement at all. No real talk,
Yeah.
because
And that's
I didn't.
separation.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and that's the part. That's the part that's hard because I already know in my spirit that things are being falling away because it's necessary because for my
That's
growth,
right.
and
Yeah.
I
And it's not
understand
it's
that.
not it's not a bad thing. Like
No,
it's
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 not.
because it's not just your growth. It's theirs as well.
Yeah.
They need growth, and this is going to put them in that position. So let's start looking at this. So the greatest achievements may look like mistakes, but you will always be able to build upon them. I love the way that's put because, like, sometimes we think, oh, that that's something that I did, but I did it just naturally. It wasn't my skill set. It
Right.
wasn't my ability. But no, it was your ability. And because your ability doesn't have to do with what you know, it has
Hmm.
to do with who you are.
Right. That's true. Now that's real.
Yeah. So the greatest achievements may look like mistakes, but you'll always be able to build upon them. So you're always going to be able to build upon those little things. Even if it was a mistake even if it was just, natural that you put your hand on your solar plexus, like you can still build upon that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, like you trust yourself. And that trust builds more confidence in you and around you.
That's true. Okay.
The fullest reserves may seem empty, but you will always be able to draw upon them. And that's where this positive energy within you is. That sort of that hesitancy about like allowing negativity around you.
Yes.
Like you have the fullest reserves of positivity in your mind, in your body, and flirting with that isn't going to threaten it. Flirting with allowing yourself to be with your buddy
Hmm.
even if they're negative. Like Like
So you telling
when
you said it's in there, Lois, it's in
yeah,
there,
it's
boy,
in there.
oh boy,
And
but it's hard. I'm gonna tell you
no,
that.
I
No,
you
and
know,
then, but
like
I'm
you
only saying that I'm teasing. I shouldn't have said that in teasing. No, it's not hard. It's easy. This
yes,
is easy as
this is
everything else has been.
right.
This is easy. Okay,
And
but
you can be with and you can be with that negativity without fear of returning. You know, this is, me coming out of addiction, all that kind of stuff. I know that you have your bouts and stuff, but what we what we often do when we're in a 12-step environment is we
Mhm.
look over our shoulder with a little fear, with a little uh-oh, that's just behind me. And we want and that and even as it relates to negativity, we don't want to embrace that sort of mentality because the thing is that you're still the one learning.
Yeah.
And just like the greatest achievements may look like mistakes, but you can always build upon them. As it relates to recovery, just it's not a mistake that you have sober time. It's not a mistake that you have positive vibration time. That's not a mistake. You have built that and you can always build upon it. Now, the fullest reserves, your recovery time, your mentality around your recovery, your mentality around your positivity, all of those reserves may seem like they're empty, but you can always draw upon them.
Okay, I hear that too. I hear that too. Cause like I said, cause my body was compromised with that vegan and all that stuff I did last week.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and that's what it was. My body was in. Like I said, I already know what happened with my. My thing is like I said, getting out ahead of it. But this one is really good because what you're saying to me is what I said to Daryl last night. I am not
Mm,
the same person I was when I was being easily drawn into that BS.
that's
Okay,
right. And you can sit
I'm
back.
not the
You
same
can.
person, and I'm trying to step back and just witness it.
That's
But
right. Just stay at the center because there is nothing you can do for Daryl.
no, and there's nothing I can do in
You
this situation.
right.
So
All you can do, like
all I can do is witness it and not play into it.
strength is strength to change what you can,
Yeah. And
and
I can
knowledge
change
to know.
me. I cannot. I can do what I've been doing. But you know what? The whole thing is that it's kind of tiring because I gotta
Yeah,
keep. It's like, okay, when do I relax? When do I get to relax? I got no, and I like being in that relaxed, flowing, free mode. I don't having to pull up a fence. I don't put up walls. I put up little chain link fences, things you can permeate through.
yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like that. I've never had to do that with this person like this, and it's like,
Right.
and it's kind of like a little bit. It makes me a little bit sad, and you know what I'm saying? It's because it's a
Mm-hmm.
breaking away.
It's yeah, it's a
It's a
loss.
breaking away. It's a
Yeah.
loss. It's not a loss because
Well, right.
it's not a
But
loss.
things are changing.
It's yeah, things are changing, and it's not comfortable because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but I know what God has me for me to do, and I'm coming to realization that they can't go, not in this state,
No,
you know,
no.
not in this state because it affects my physical.
And I'm telling you, when I have most affected the lives of people around me,
Uh-huh.
they lash out because they're like, I don't want to change.
Yeah, that's what I got. Oh my
And
God.
then and then when you leave, they start changing because they look back and be like, why the hell did I say that? Why did I do that? Because that's not really what I feel. And this is what brings us into the next line. The straightest line looks crooked.
Yes.
The most skilled people come off as clumsy. You may even feel clumsy right now
Yeah, I do.
because of what you're doing. The most eloquent people are usually silent. And this is you keeping quiet and you're actually saying a lot in your silence. By coming out and trying to make sure that Daryl knows that you're positive, you're positive, you're positive. Well, you can be more eloquent by not saying a damn thing.
Oh, that's what I've been doing. That's like I said yesterday was relatively no conversation. Period. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
no. I mean,
But
this necessary. Good morning. How you
yeah,
doing?
of
Going to
course.
work? I've got to go here. You go there. Whatever, whatever, whatever. That's the gist of it. You know.
Yeah.
And I
And
just use.
being
I was
and
yes. Last night I was giving Daryl this same advice. Is what I was telling you.
yeah.
Okay, because I'm not so my thing is like okay, 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 I got this. So my thing is I do have this. I just feel shaky ground right now
That's right. The most skilled
because
people come off as clumsy, and that's all
yeah.
right. Just sit quietly within yourself. I
Okay.
have a little bit more here. I'm going to read it. If you want to come back up, we'll finish it up.
Okay.
I'm going to read through this now. When it's cold, you can move around to stay warm. When it's hot, you should keep still to stay cool. But whatever the weather, if you stay calm, the world will sort itself out around you. And we're bringing Lois back up. The world will sort itself out around you. You don't have to change the world. You don't have to change the world. You can let it sort itself out around you.
So it's back to my point. If you can keep your head when all about them are are losing theirs and blame it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, yet make allowances for their doubting too. That's back to the if point. So I just like I said, it's just uncomfortable because this is a 27, 28 year friendship.
Yeah.
So,
And
so
and think about the relationship that you had with yourself and how hard it was to change into who you are becoming now. Like
yeah.
that was hard. Like that part of you didn't want to let go. That was a long relationship. That part of you
No,
was like,
that part of me wanted to let go, but just didn't know how and didn't know what I
right.
was letting go
And
of. And
beautifully put. And
okay,
that might be what Daryl's going through right now. Just doesn't
okay,
know how.
okay,
And it's not that you know how or you can tell them, but you can love them so they can figure it out. And
okay.
that doesn't mean you have to stay there and be in a negative space. But it does mean that like, like you have to let go.
Uh-huh.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship is going to end. It's just going to change. And that's beautiful.
Well, it says already. I mean, it's just and like I said, the person's not Daryl. Just in case anybody don't know, the
Oh,
person's
okay. I
not
don't know
name
what
is not Daryl.
it does.
Ah, so just in case somebody say, "Oh, Daryl, who is Daryl? No, ain't
No, I'm
nobody
not.
named, ain't nobody.
I'm just
And
yeah.
I just use the word in the name Daryl, just to
Yeah,
give
that's
it a
fine. Like
name.
I
Okay, and it's
and
neither
it's just it
male nor female. It's just that that's just the name. So, but the whole thing is that I understand. I just gotta be still and know that God is God, and that if I be still, that God is gonna handle it. I don't have to engage, no matter how much. It's because it's coming at me, but I am ho'oponopono everything that's coming at me, so I know it's not mine. You know what I mean?
right, right, right.
It's not. It is definitely not mine. You know, so that I feel good about,
Wow.
because I just gotta maintain. Because I'm with women that die we talked about, where you don't have to explain yourself, truth don't have to explain itself, real
That's
don't have
right.
to explain itself.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at. I don't feel like I need to explain myself or try to explain myself no more. I'm just going to just be and just know that this is changing, and that that I just Lois is not a mean person. Put it like that. And Lois don't like when people feelings get hurt. Okay, that's all. And
Well, here's the thing.
Lois loved Lois enough to let Lois be quiet and let people feel whatever they want to fucking feel.
What I'm gonna say is no, Lois isn't a mean person, but the Tao always talks about this idea that there is no mean, and so
Right.
sometimes people might look at things you do as mean, but you're not doing it to be mean,
No, I'm
and
not.
that's the thing. If you precognate, if you think before something happens, oh, they could think this is mean. Well, that could be anything. So you can't judge and you can't predetermine what people are going to think. You just have to do what you're going to do every time. And as you do that, maybe people will think, well, that was mean of Lois. Well, that's okay.
Well, no, I just happen to hear what was said. Okay, I'm not. Lois is not just making up what Lois might imagine.
Right.
Maybe so.
Right.
This is what Lois. That's why I'm having a hard time because I'm witnessing and hearing what's really going on because I keep ho'oponopono and I'm here overhearing conversations and I'm listening. And so it's not like I'm imagining anything. It's like I said. It's kind of like I feel like I'm in a little bit of a hostile environment. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so my thing is trying to be quiet because this ain't my house.
No,
This is
I
not
got
my house,
you. Yeah.
and I'm allowed to stay here when I come to California, but they're gonna be have to rethink it because it's not for me right now. It doesn't feel like it's worth it because of how I'm having to be,
Yeah.
and that's the part. That's the sad part that I feel because I'm gonna have to. This is like I feel that this is you know what I mean? This
It's
is
yeah.
not. Yeah, it's
This
yeah,
is a new
this is kind of
path.
it. This is kind of almost it kind of thing kind of and
I
so
got
it's
it's hard to
uncomfortable
say.
because it's an ending. It's
Yeah.
a type of ending. It's not a full-fledged ending,
No, no,
but it's
no.
an ending per se. And so I have emotions, I have feelings,
Yeah.
and I like I said, I hear things and I see things and it's like there's little passive aggressive stuff being done and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay, all right. Okay, Lois, get back to Lois. Don't pay attention to this because they're trying to get to you. Don't do that. Don't do that. They put that on your desk for a reason. Don't you
Mm-hmm.
respond to that bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
How's
right.
this bullshit gonna help me grow, God? How's this bullshit? This is my talking. How's this
Yeah.
gonna help me grow?
I got you. I got
Okay, so it's I'm being having to be active, really active, and usually I can just relax.
yeah.
So that's all. But I appreciate this dial definitely. Just and so I'm doing the right thing that was started
You're,
yesterday was just being my
you're on
ass
it.
quiet, being
That's right.
quiet.
Being quiet.
Okay.
Just watch it. Just watch it go.
Yeah, I'm watching it. That's what Martin. That's what hurts. It's watching it.
That's right. That's
That's watching it hurts. It's like, and then I feel, and this thing was so terrible. I don't feel sorry for me. I
no.
feel bad for that person.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do. I really
Because they're
do.
hurting. They're really hurting.
Yes, and I can't do
And there's
nothing about
nothing
it.
you can do. And
And there's
here's
nothing I can
this
do.
is like so much of this, like this is all so much recovery work, like this is recovery work. This is like watching people and being like, I love you. Just know I love you.
Yeah, and feel my hands
And
are tied too. It's like,
yeah, and just like being right there and being like, man, I know that hurts and I love you and I'm sorry, but I gotta go.
yeah,
Like
I,
until this is a safe place, I got to go. Like, one way or another. It doesn't necessarily mean
yeah.
physically, but like, like you have to just like,
A
I can't,
divorce. They say
I
it's
can't.
like a divorcement. It's a
Yeah,
divorcement.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a divorcement where you got to separate your emotions, even though you care and love the person. You got to divorce part of you from that so that you're not affected by that. You know.
Right. That's right. Like you
So
got to take care. You got to take care. And I hope that you take care today, Lois. I love you,
oh,
girl.
I will. I love you too, Martin. And thank you so much. And I'm glad that the spirit had me pick this particular dial because I didn't realize I needed to talk.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
really, I really
It's
did not
good.
realize it until, but I knew I had to come out to the car because I had to take care of my stomach and do what I had to do. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, but thank you. And you have a beautiful, wonderful day. And hopefully I'll talk to you tomorrow if I have, if I get up in time. But,
Well, yeah,
uh,
I'll be on real early tomorrow because I got a flight. But we'll catch up the next day if
all
we
right.
don't catch
Okay.
up tomorrow.
All right. Take care, Martin.
Love you, girl.
No, I love you too. Bye bye.
All right. Well, Lois, number 45. Thank you so much. See, Lois talked about something really important and something that kind of comes up in the Tao. This idea that change is that inevitable, right? It is inevitable. Change is going to happen, and there's a relationship in Lois's life that's changing, and there's always relationships in my life that are changing, and all of that is welcomed. Change when you love somebody. So I'm gonna talk about a relationship I had with a beautiful woman in Chile. Her name was Carolina. And I'm not mincing words here. Her name was Carolina, and it still is. And there was a time where I told, like, I'm a positive guy. I'll send out like positive, like, quotes, or not quotes, but I'll just be like, hey, I hope you're doing good. Hang in there. You're awesome. Stuff like that. Little messages like that. And and in those messages, like, she would get them, and then one time she lashed out, and she was just like, I don't know why you're sending me these messages. I'm not a happy person. Da 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 da. And I stepped back and I said, whoa, there's a real, like, lashing out there. And it was through that lashing out that I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm I'm not going to send her these positive things. And within a couple, I don't know, within maybe a couple hours, she sent me another response that was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You have always been there for me. You have always been, like, been such a beautiful light in my life, and all of these things." And I don't know why I said that. I feel so bad that I said that. And please forgive me. And of course, I don't want you to stop sending me your positive, like, messages and stuff. And it was that moment that she had made the decision to change. And it was because she couldn't avoid that she was choosing to be unhappy. Like, she actually, like, said, "No, I choose unhappiness." And she couldn't unsee that. And of course, I knew for years that she was choosing unhappiness, but I also knew that she had so much potential for love, and so much potential for joy and happiness and all of these things. And she just, continued to choose to make things difficult for herself. And it hurt me, but I still loved her. And she was in Chile, so I wasn't like I was staying at her place or anything regularly, right? Like, I only went down to Chile twice, and she came up to Chicago twice over the 2 years that we had a relationship. And then we became friends, and it was during the time that we were friends that she really saw something. And now she is doing so good. She is happy. She is always positive. It's so wonderful. Um, Isabel Zimmerman's going to join me for Tao of the Day. And I am super excited because I don't know that we have spoken. Isabel, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am very well. We have spoken before, haven't we?
We've spoken once,
Yeah.
Christina,
Oh,
Holly.
yes, that's right. You are
Yep,
Christina's book.
that's our connection.
That's right. I was like, oh yeah, like, now that I see you and your little dog, I'm
Yeah,
like, yes, I do know you. I do know you. So,
yeah.
how have you been?
I've been very good, actually. It's so funny. Spirit talked to me about you last night.
Oh,
I know.
talking b'chad b'bay. I had a rough night last night, so why don't you tell me what we're talking about?
Yeah, no, it was just that you actually helped me, believe it or not. Um,
Mm.
I'm creating this journal, right? Because spirit's like, Isabel, we want you, more humans need to journal. So I started it in September, and I channeled the questions, the prompts, right? And Martin, I'm putting it together. It's based on the 12 chakras. So like the first month is the root chakra, and it's all about newness. It's
Mhm.
like thought-provoking questions around newness or whatever. So I'm like, it's 365 questions, and I'm putting this journal together, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so deep. This is so deep. This is so deep. This is really thought provoking, and this is really deep. Oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't have it one of 365 because it's really intimidating. So I channeled around it, and then that's where you came in,
Mm.
and they said, Martin does the Tao of the Day, and those are very thought provoking questions and meditations because the
Mm.
Tao is like mini lessons, right?
Mm.
And and it's okay. This journal is for the light workers. You
Right.
were always meant to work with the teachers, dear one. You were always meant to work with the light workers. This journal is helping them integrate their understanding and knowings.
Yeah.
And then
And,
I like totally calmed down. But
mm,
so the work that so when I connected in and then they connected me in that. So see, because when you connect, like you get like downloads, it's like a feeling, it's
yeah.
images, it's like it's more than one thing, right?
Yeah.
So when I connected with you, I just want to let you know I saw the impact that your love is impacting many, many light workers. It's
Mm,
sparking many, many. So you are a fellow teacher to the light workers. And
mm.
so I was totally inspired because um to pop on right now. They're like, we want you to go on wisdom. And I really thought it was for Christina, to tell you the truth. And then when I saw you, I was like, they want me to tell Martin.
Well, that's that I think like well, let me just start by saying they're right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they let you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'm glad that you are, doing the Tao um, of the day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it really is very deep and thought provoking, and that already exists in our energetic pattern.
Right. And just like I was gonna say, and I do want to pick. I do want you picking a number, but I
Yeah,
wanted to say
I do have
before
a number for you.
before we move into that, I wanted to say, even your just writing it, whether it, like, of course it's going to get published and all these things, but it doesn't like that. That is like already it is in the field, right?
Yes.
Like you've
Yes.
already put this in the field, and like the act of writing it, the act of publishing it, all of that is just here on in this physical realm. Like what
Yes.
you're doing with those 365 things, like they're here for us. They're in our hearts. They're written here well before they're ever on a page. And that's something that, I do believe about the Tao, and it's great that it's here because now we can have this instant gratification of reading it. We can have the instant gratification and proof, which we
Yeah.
love in this world. But like knowing that like those 365 lessons of, around the 12 chakras are within us, and I am
Yes.
so grateful that you're doing that work for me.
Oh, Martin, I think I'm gonna cry. I totally feel that. Thank you so much. I have so many wow, I really feel that. So I have so many projects, and a lot of times when you act on inspiration, you just you just push past fear and you just act on inspiration, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And
It don't make sense. Just
right.
like that was is what I was talking with Lois about. Like, just sometimes shit don't make sense. Like,
Yeah, and you just do it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But it is nice to receive that love. It is nice
yeah,
to receive that, that
uh,
validation. Because like
yeah.
sometimes you're like, I don't know, man. Just doing it.
No, it's like, well, and that's the thing. Just doing it is all that there is.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like when you can kind of be there with yourself and realize that like it's there's a Tao that talks about this concept of like being lived by the Tao. It's like it's not
Mm,
you. It's not
yeah.
like it's not you trying to accomplish something. It's you
Yes.
being lived by something. And
Y-
and in the only way that you can be whole is by being partial in that way. The only way that you can be complete is by allowing part of yourself to be lived and not try and be in control. Because in being in control, in being understanding, in trying to get it all down, you are missing so much.
Yeah, and Spirit talks to me a lot around this. It's the journey, and it's creating for the sake of creating, and allow your creation to take form in whatever form it takes, and let it go. Right. So the creation is the most it's the part for me, right? The sake of creating, because there is tremendous joy as I create, right? And it's
Mhm.
a high vibration. And then once my creation is in form, I let it go and let
Yeah,
it has its life of its own. It
yeah.
matters not. And then I create the next thing.
Yeah, well, as an artist, we can have long conversations about that because I also think that we're coming we're coming to the end of formal creation, like in the way that we understand it. I believe that, like,
Really?
yeah, I mean, it's going to
Okay.
take a couple millennia, but I do believe that we've entered a time in which the formal creation of art, like writing and painting and sculpture and all of these sorts of, and music and things, like we are coming to, like, we will be living lives in which creation is at the center of life in a way that will make art making, writing, music, and all of that kind of stuff superfluous, and it
Yes.
won't make sense any longer. I think that we needed that to understand our connection to consciousness. I think we need, like, and when I do healing work, it starts with me doing a portrait of my client,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I send that portrait to them because they get to experience the taming of a creation. So when you create something, it goes from being a blank piece of paper or something to a thing that has, consciousness, and it always has consciousness, but now it has consciousness as a different thing. And then it says, well, what am I? And as you look at it, as you reread it, as you listen to it, as you observe it, it changes into what it is so that it can be released into the world. And we
Yes.
as artists often like to hold on to those things for too long
Yeah.
and build codependent relationships around, like, our work.
Mhm.
And then we don't grow, it doesn't grow, and then there's this kind of still energy that kind of, like, can rot.
Yeah, I agree. And the creation, what I got from Spirit when you were talking about it was that the written form, the singing, the painting or whatever will still be available for humanity. It's just that our palette expands to a greater scope.
Yeah, nothing gets taken off the table. Right,
Nothing
right.
gets taken off
It's
the
just
table.
it's just going to be more of a, like, we
Yeah.
our lives will be the art, and
Yes.
some things will, but we're not going to be like, let's hold on to all of these things in galleries and museums and all of this in libraries. And no, it's all available, and we'll have access to it more readily, and we won't
Right.
necessarily need the proof of the actual publication. We won't need the proof of the painting. We won't need the proof and the instant gratification. We'll be able to embrace the creation of the moment.
Yeah. Yep. I I'm totally seeing that, and like it's exciting times. It's
It
really
is.
exciting
It
times,
is.
and I think it's going to be here sooner than you think,
No,
by the
maybe,
way.
maybe, yeah. I mean, you got your
Yeah.
buddies. It's just me over here.
Yeah.
So give me a number, and then we'll
34.
explore. 34.
34.
Wonderful. Um, the great Tao flows everywhere. All things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them. It pours itself into its work, yet it makes no claim. It nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them. Since it's merged with all things and hid it in their hearts, it can be called humble. Since all things vanish into it, it alone endures. Oh, nope. Since all things vanish it into it, and it alone endures, it can be called great. It isn't anywhere. it isn't aware of its greatness. Thus, it is truly great. I read that really poorly, but
No, you did great.
okay, good. Thank you. um, so yeah, so for initial thoughts, I like this on our topic, by the way.
Yeah, isn't that they're cute, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
um for me, it represents the all that is, from the seen to the unseen,
Yeah,
the folding within, the folding without, the torus, the vortexes, the galaxies, the stars, and the moons. So when you were reading that, I was seeing a lot of imagery of energy
mm,
in form, different forms, I would say,
yeah,
and the humble and the great. So the I'm being mentored tremendously by the non-physical around one of the weirdest experiences, and it's happening very frequently now, and it never happened as before to me. But I'm feeling joy and sadness at once, and
oh,
usually I would
good on
feel
you.
an emotion, one emotion at a time, right?
Yeah,
But they've been really, really mentoring me for the past 6 months pretty hard around the quantum state. So it's the unity, the oneness. Don't get caught up on my language. I'm just a sciencey psychic. So to me, it represents that quantum field. You
yeah,
are both at once. You are you are neither on nor off. You are both
right.
at once.
Yeah.
So, oh, it's going to kick me off. Do you want me to come
Well,
back?
yes, I absolutely want you to come back. We
Okay.
just
So,
started this, Isabel. You and I have a journey together.
yeah. So,
Oh, I want to take a pause really quick and my heart is so open to you right now.
aw, I
Like
feel
it's just like as we're ending, I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm so glad that you're coming back. Like
it.
I just feel held. I just enjoy that. And just wanted to take note. Always like to do that.
Aw, thank you so much. I feel you very strongly, by the way. Like
Mm.
really, like my heart chakra is on, my cheeks are
Yes.
hot,
Yes.
my head is tingling. They're definitely we're connected and they're with us in this moment.
Okay, come on back.
So I will tell you how I'm being mentored. So this can um, all of humanity will go through this. Um, I'm sure other light workers are going through this right now. There are phases and stages. One of the things that a lot of light workers will have to, or all of humanity will have to deal with their inner child. And because that inner child aspect will has to be healed. So that's a phase or a stage, I would say. And then another one is you start to not only do you start to heal the pain and suffering of this lifetime, but you will then start to remember other aspects of your lives. I mean, you can call them past lives or whatever, but they're really in higher truth aspects of you in the now moment. And so you will start remembering your other aspects either through dreams or through awakened state, or you'll go in a building, or you'll look at a painting, or you'll read a book or a movie, and you'll remember and actually feel that emotion and pain in that life, because that has to be cleared. And so I work with a lot of light workers. I talk to a lot of teachers around the world, and that is happening very frequently now. Before it was, one or two person, but like now I,
Let's relate this back to this, like the great Tao flows everywhere, right? Let's start
right.
looking at this like and start to kind of like relate what is going on to this Tao, and like let's bring this all together.
I
So
love
like
it.
we start, this Tao starts with the great Tao flows everywhere. So it's not, it's not, it has very little, I think, to do with the idea that it is a group of people or anything. I think, like, yes, we talk light workers, sure, light workers. They're light
Right.
workers. I mean, and there are shit light workers and there are great light workers.
Yeah. It
Like,
matters not, right?
yeah,
It's
it
just
matters not.
energy.
And everybody works with light. There's not a
Exactly.
single being, and this doesn't, like, this is cats and dogs and fish and rocks and walls and houses, and like
Yes.
we are all working with light, right?
Yes,
And so
absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that because again, I just use terminology, right, to as a shortcut. But yes, everyone is a light worker. Everyone is a being of light. So you
yeah,
cannot not be. Period.
right. So you are, and everyone around you is a being of light and a light worker, and whether or not you look at them and say, "Wow, well, you're not woke, or you're not this, or like that is where we are blocking." And so we move into the next line that says, "All things are born from it. All things are born from the Tao. The great Tao flows everywhere. All things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them." And this
So
is
what
what
do you think that means?
we want to. I always think we want to emulate the Tao, right? We want to emulate because that is our highest self. And so, like, we don't create them. So I always like to look at that as like, it is not my job to awaken you, right? It is not my job to create you. It is not my job to create anything, right? It is my job to be. And in being, creation follows. And just by being. And so all things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them. It isn't that it is my design that creates something. And that's kind of how I see that.
That that is so succinctly put. I wish we could transcribe that.
Well, it is recorded.
Yeah.
Um,
So Martin, we'll have to like go back because that is so succinctly put what you just said because that really is the the design of the system, I would say, or the
yeah.
truth, right?
And it's interesting, like, because I mean you talk directly about channeling, and I don't, but I don't when I speak, I don't think about what I'm going to say. It just comes out. So, like, I mean, we could kind of go into language of channeling as well, but really, like, that's a by just being present here in love, in with this moment, with myself, with you at this moment, right? Like, being
Right.
able to be here, like allows that to be present. And then we move to this next line where it pours itself into its work. Once again, this is something that I try to emulate. Just be here, yet it makes no claim. I don't want to be like, yes, I did something good, pat me on the back or anything. It's just like, no, 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 this is truth. This has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And so what I want to say um is that you're speaking through your heart. So yes, I use the word channeling and psychic and light workers and that kind of language only because um part of my purpose here, I'm just playing a role. Everyone is a master.
That's right.
Everyone is enlightened. There,
Yeah.
it's just a game. I am equal to
Love you.
all.
Love you.
I'm. But part of my role is they were very specific with me. They said, we really want you to use this language, Isabel.
Yeah.
And I said, really? Because I'm like, I'm always curious, like, so why? and it's because there's fear around it. So they were like, we really want you to
Mm.
be like Dr. Ruth when she talked about sex and masturbation and penises and vaginas. And I'm like, really? You want me to be like Dr. Ruth? Oh my God, guys. You guys are killing me. And they're like, yes, we want you to um, talk about it, use these words. There might be triggering, and so we can soften the fear.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, that's cool, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yes, again, you saying, you know, channeling or whatever. So let's just, and then we're going to go back to the Tao. So really, all channeling is you're quieting the ego mind, and you are allowing the divine, because you are divine aspect, your soul, your inner being, whatever you want to call it, heart, to flow through you in a
Yeah.
loving way,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah. I
allowing the
mean, one
love.
could say what I do is channel. You know, like
Yes.
especially when I do like blind portraits where, you know, like I'll do a portrait of someone that I've never seen before when I do past life portraits and stuff. Yeah, one would say that. I'm not called to utilize that word, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's flowing, it's quieting the ego mind and flowing the heart. And that's, you know, which is great, right?
Quieting the ego mind. It is if that's your goal, I suppose. Like if that's what you want to do,
Yeah, and the
you know.
ego is also really fun. I mean,
Yeah.
let's, you know, it's
You know, and
also,
as we're
it's all
reading this
good.
now, it is all about like all things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them. It pours itself into its work, yet it makes no claim. Everything that you do is its work, and it makes no claim. Whether it's embrace the ego or quiet the ego mind, it
Yeah.
nourishes infinite worlds, yet it has no hold on them. You are being nourished by the Tao at every moment, and it does not have a hold on you. It is not the Tao is not asking you to do anything. It is not demanding anything of you. And you have the freedom to do what you will. And as I was talking about earlier, the Tao also says, hey, the only way in order to be yourself completely is by being partial, is by being in conjunction with the Tao, and is by living with, by being lived by the Tao. Is
Yeah, so when
sharing.
when you say that, you know, the imagery that came up was fractals,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
part of the whole.
Yes.
Mhm.
And everything that we've been talking about moves into this next line. Since it is merged with all things and hidden in their hearts, it can be called humble. It's in our hearts.
Yeah.
Like you said, like quieting the ego mind and speaking from your heart, as you mentioned, like what I was doing, right? Like,
Mhm.
you know, just being present and being able to speak from there. And it's humble because it is allowing me to take, you know, some credit for that. It is allowing me to kind of be in that space of like the ego. Look at me, I'm Martin John. Like I get to do these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I get to be this awesome guy that talks about the Tao. I'm fucking awesome. Like, but no, it's like the Tao's in there going, yeah, 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 take the credit, son. Whatever you need. Like
Yeah. That's awesome. Um so what is the next line after that?
yeah, since all things vanish into it, and it alone endures, it can be called great.
I love that. And that humble and great is that
Mm-hmm.
quantum state.
Yes, yes, that's where I was going. Nice,
It's
very,
the
very
both,
nice connection. Good
it's
job.
the
Like that's
both.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's the both. And that's what I was saying earlier, that it's interesting that I'm feeling emotions, two emotions at once.
Yes, that's everything.
Yeah. And I
That's everything.
think part of that, um, part of my mentoring from them was really going into, like, I really had to go into shame, like for 5 hours. They like woke me up at 3 a.m. and like downloads and oh my gosh, and crying and just, just the shadow work or the soul work, however you want to call that. And really go into that emotion of shame,
Mm-hmm.
and they've done that with a lot of it, like um, rejection, shame, desperation. I had to go really into desperation, and I'm like, wow, oh my god. But it's because one of the things that um, the understanding is, can I feel desperation as beautiful? Can I feel shame as beautiful? Can
Yeah.
I feel rejection as beautiful? Not think it, but feel it, because it doesn't count until I feel it.
Right.
Because
And so many of those things don't make sense on a logic scale,
um,
but it makes sense deep in your heart, right? Like if you can't logically be like, yes, it's good, feel shame and like be here and be beautiful in it and understand this is the part of the journey and stuff. Like it's really like, well, okay, I could say that, but like that doesn't make any damn sense. Like there's no, but when I can feel it, when I can just be with it, embrace it and say, yes, this is a part of this whole thing. And here I am with it. Hmm.
yeah. And what helped me was, in order to go into these emotions and not push it away, was a series of steps. But what really, really helped me, that played in my mind to get me to step into it, was, this has been created by all that is, and it is love. I do not view it or feel it as love, but all that is created, and it is necessary. And I don't need to be afraid, even though I am.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wonderfully put. So wonderfully put. Yeah, because like, yesterday I read a Tao that was like, can you let go of or can you release tension or can you let go of your mind and body and still brace for the change?
Mm,
It's the both. If you
it's the
like if
both.
you don't have one, you can't experience the other. Or if you don't have one, you can't have the other.
Yes.
It isn't
Yes, yes,
aware of
yes.
its greatness. Thus it is truly great. And that's where we end this one.
I love it. I do have to go, my love. I
Yes.
feel you tremendously. Thank you so much. And I promise I will pop back on soon.
Oh, Isabel, I love you. Have a wonderful day. We will speak again. D Grant is going to join me now. D Grant is one of my brothers up here. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. And yourself?
Oh, man, I'm doing better than I thought I would be. I woke up. I heard Isabel talking about being woken up at 3 o'clock this morning, and I had a similar experience. Mine was about 1:30, and I was like,
Mm.
"What the hell is this? This is not part of the game plan."
Yeah,
Um,
I couldn't fall asleep last night, so there's something going on. There's something moving about. but
yeah,
but yeah, I was I
yeah.
was up I was up to almost midnight, which is insane for me.
Mm,
I'm usually in bed by I'm usually asleep by like 9:30. In
yeah,
bed like winding down at 8 and like but no big deal. We just kind of roll with the punches. Here we are on
yeah.
top of the day. I woke up, everything was normal, so we're good.
Mm, awesome, awesome.
So,
Well, Tigger wants me to tell you, or Tigger wants to say hello too.
oh well, I'm hearing him in the background, so I'm glad we're all healthy and happy this morning.
Yeah, he's excited about Dow of the Day, as am I. Uh,
Oh, ooh.
yeah. So here's something, man. Like I started this yesterday, but I really felt something over the weekend. Kind of what as Isabel was sharing about, you know, being led by spirit, and it's not always thoughts. It's something that's like deep within you. And I felt like, you know, doing regular talks like similar to what you do um, in the mornings as a way to just teach like simple life lessons is one of the things that I'm starting to do. So, but my thought was, and I was gonna try to reach out to you to see what time you do Tao of the Day, because to I don't want to miss Tao of the Day. To be perfectly honest, like it, it's not that I don't want to step on your toes and do something at the same time as you. That's
Oh,
part it. It's part of that, but really, it's like I don't want to be doing something and miss the chance to hear Martin John's daily Tao of the Day and also the opportunity to talk with him. So, do you have like
so
do you have a
I
set
do
time that you
I
go?
do not have a set time for Tao of the Day.
Okay.
It is sometime in the morning. What I try and do is like tomorrow I have a flight in the morning. Mornings can be I wouldn't be able to have a time that I do Tao of the Day because there's no way of scheduling the talk, because my life just changes so quickly, and you know, especially like if I have to take a flight in the morning. Like I love flying like early morning, especially if it's within the contingent, you know, like United States. And tomorrow I'll be taking a flight, and that means I'll have to leave my house at 9. That means I got to be done with this well in
Mm,
advance, and I
yeah.
don't want to rush out the door. So I'm probably going to do my Tao of the Day tomorrow, like at 4 a.m. Central Time,
Oh wow.
and and then there are times where I'm on the East Coast, so maybe it's going to happen a little early, and maybe if I'm in Pacific Time, it's going to happen a little later, and so just because like things kind of can shift, there is no time. But you know, like I do know Regina does her talks. She used to do a talk at 8:30 Central Time, and so what I would try to do is like hang out until like 8:45 sometimes until she did her talk, so I could pop on and talk with
Mm,
Regina Carey. And so that's usually what I do. Like, so if you were doing a talk that would be at 7, I I probably would, like, you know, maybe pop on your talk at 7 o'clock and, you know, like hang out for a little bit and then do Tao of the Day, or do it before, or it would overlap. Sometimes that would happen
ah,
as well, and that's just how it goes. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of how I see especially the Tao of the Day. I do have On Recovery, which happens at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays. That's today. And that's more scheduled because it's an afternoon, and I can usually, you know, if I'm traveling anywhere, I can be like, okay, I need to be there by 1 o'clock. What does that look like?
okay. Well,
So that's, yeah,
thanks for that insight, man.
no time frame. I try and do it between like even I started one at 3 a.m. once, you know. So
Jeez.
really, like between 3 and 10 o'clock. I don't like the idea that I would start it after 10 o'clock, because ten
Mm.
o'clock seems like morning. That's when morning cartoons ended, really,
Ah,
Saturdays. So that's my
I
that's
like
kind
your
of my
reference
my
point.
concept
That's
of
awesome.
morning.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, my game plan was to do it at 7:30
Oh, that's
uh
beautiful.
every day. This
7:30
morning,
Central.
yeah, very good point. 7:30 Central Daylight Time or Standard Time or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Well, it depends on what time of year it is. So,
That's true.
you know, there are people that run with daylight standard all year and don't shift to daylight savings. So it's a like you need to know which one it is, if you are going to stand it, or you just say central. And
Okay.
then it is central standard or central daylight, depending on if it's winter or summer.
Oh, I appreciate you letting me know that difference. I thought it was two different ways of saying the same thing.
No, 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 no. Daylight savings is when you save sunlight during the winter, and daylight standard is the summer time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. Well, so I essentially I've put off my little life lessons for the day until
And you get a life lesson. Look at that.
I get multiple life lessons because you're about to read some more Tao. So I've already
I
gotten
know.
like 12 life lessons from you and
Jesus, so
Isabel's
many.
talk.
Yeah.
And
All right.
yeah. Okay,
So
so
and you know, wonderful. I'm glad that you're doing that. Life lessons, that's wonderful. Is each episode going to like cover a specific life lesson, or are
yeah.
you going to
Yeah.
just, okay, okay, cool.
And it's
And
and it's it's also very similar to what you and Isabel talked about. Like, I don't, I'm not gonna sit down and plan out like I used to, plan out what I'm going to talk ahead of time. It's
mhm,
like what I feel spirit leading me to do the day
mhm,
of,
mhm, mhm.
because then I'm not in control. And one of my big things, over the past several years, anyways, has been release and surrender, which is
Yeah.
all about getting out of my own way and not trying to be in control of the process or the outcome.
You
And
know, I'm getting a thought just now, just the idea that like then don't make it about life lessons. Then just kind of
uh,
make it like D Grant being guided. Like, and then you come on and you just be guided to say and do whatever it is you say and do. And it doesn't have to be about life lessons, because once you
okay.
put the life lesson thing on there, it's already a caveat, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
go there with something. Like it gives you at least, if you make the platform, or if you make the talk available to anything that, and if you just allow this to being guided, and this is where D Grant receives and is allowed to just say whatever is coming and whatever is up.
Mm,
That way you can be you in this moment as you are, no matter where or how you are.
I like it. Thanks, man.
Yeah. It's always tough kind of like putting like even my on recovery. That's why I only do it once a week, because I can only talk about recovery so much. There's only so many things.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to be like on recovery 5 days a week. I'd be fucking, I don't know. I'd run out of shit real quick. And I would have to like start weaving things, and well, this is how it relates and stuff like that.
Mm.
So before we get too far down, like, not that we're not far down the rabbit hole already, but like, do you have a number for me?
Yeah, I got the number 2.
Number two. And because you've been with me a number of times, I am utilizing the Hogan translation, because
Awesome.
you and I have covered a lot of Mitchell together. So we're gonna move over to this one. I'm just trying to spice it up for myself, really. It's like I'm reading the same thing over and over after all these weeks. So, if something is beautiful, something else must be ugly. If something is good, something else must be bad. You can't have something without nothing. If no task is difficult, then no task is easy. Things are up high because other things are down low.
Mm.
You know when you're listening to music because you don't hear noise. And something else comes first, so this must be next. The masters get the job done without moving a muscle, and signify without saying a word. When things around them fall apart, they stay cool. They don't own much, but they use whatever's at hand. They do the work without expecting any favors. When the job is finished, they move on to the next job. That's why the work is so damn good.
Hmm. Yeah. I knew I picked a winner.
So, what are some of your initial thoughts?
Well, so one of the things that I was thinking about a little bit when I was up so freaking early this morning is the concept of duality, which is something that you have shared a lot with me about over the past several months. And I just had this thought, like, okay, well, there's some teachers that talk about going into nothingness and escaping the mind and getting into the essence of everything, which is where there's a blank canvas. And I thought, okay, well, if we go to the blank canvas and we say that it's nothing, then it's also we're saying that it's everything, or we could say that it's everything, because that would be the duality, would it not? And so what I hear you talking about is, if something or not you, when I hear you reading the Tao, if
Mhm.
something is easy, then there also must be something hard. If there's something that's beautiful, there also must be something that's ugly. It's all talking about duality, and allowing ourselves to see that yes, there's duality,
Oh, you're
but
breaking
also
up.
allowing ourselves to
Break.
shit. How about now?
Nope. I mean, I heard
Can
you.
you hear me
Oh,
now?
no. It's still broken up. Yeah, now I'm not hearing anything.
Well, because I didn't say anything.
Oh, there you go. I think you're okay.
Yeah, The silence was I was waiting to make sure I could be that what was coming through was coming through.
Oh, okay. It is still a little like robot-y, but I can make it out. Go on.
Well, let me move to a different place.
Nope, you're good there.
I'm good here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just what I got from down number two is just the nature of duality and how it works.
Yeah, and we live in a, like, so we live like in this physical world. We live in duality, and but in our, the Tao exists in a non-dual existence, right? So as soon as we create something as beautiful, something else must be ugly. Like you can't have one without the other. If something is
Right.
good, something else must be bad, right? Once again, once you start to identify one thing, you have inadvertently maybe identified its opposite. You can't have something without nothing. If no task is difficult, then no task is easy.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's to me. I thought I had a just kind of an imagining of there being a spectrum, and on if there's a spectrum, then on one end of the spectrum there's the most extreme version of whatever that thing is, and which means and implies that on the other end of the spectrum there's the exact opposite of that thing. What happens if we take the spectrum out?
Right. Now, if no task is difficult, then no task. If everything from, you know, I don't know, like Sisyphus and rolling the fucking like boulder up the hill, right?
Right.
Versus I don't know, going to the refrigerator and filling a glass with ice. If those things were just seen as, oh, this is just what I got to do, and you do it, then it's not difficult or easy, and you don't compare the two. But
Right.
and then we move on to our next thing. Things are up high because other things are down low. Like
Yeah.
it is here in the world of duality. It's so hard to separate from our experience,
Right.
to get rid of that spectrum, because the spectrum is everything, right? That is the creation of all individual things, right? As soon as you call something something, as soon as there's a different color, as soon as there's a different texture, you have a different thing. And now it's defined. And
Hmm.
as it's defined, it starts to slot itself in the spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like what you and Isabel were talking about in terms of like getting into the terminology and identifying that, and then also like removing ourselves from the terminology so we can just be.
Right. That's right. When you can get rid of the terminology, when you can get rid of all of the things, you can just be here as you are, and it's not about defining it. And please come back up so we can wrap this up if you have the time. If not, I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, why don't you
Um,
go ahead and wrap it up, man? I love you, buddy. Thank you for all that you do, man.
oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. So, the next line is something that really surprised me, and I've read this one before of this translation, and you know when you're listening to music because you don't hear noise. And it's interesting how Hogan writes this, because you don't hear noise. You're hearing music. You're listening to music, but it's just interesting how he put it. And that is about defining one thing from another, right? Like, so some people might listen to some music that I've listened to and be like, oh, that's just noise. And so it's about how you describe it. So I guess I like that. I guess I do like that. It's about your perception of it. Something else comes first, so this must be next. And I really like how he wrote that, because it brings us right here into this moment, right? This must be next. This thing, something else came first. This must be next. And we get to experience this, whatever this is, at this moment right now. The masters get the job done without moving a muscle, and signify without saying a word. When this is, so, D. Grant and I were talking about duality, and am I am always kind of like looking at a space of non-duality. Like duality is the experience that we have, but we always, that's the duality is the masculine, where non-dual is the feminine, right? Non-dual is this space of like, there is no opposite, right? There just is. Like, there is no defining. And that's mutuality. That's you being able to be present without bringing your experience into this moment, so that another person can be here at this moment without having to compete or compare to any of that. Right? When I can be here with you mutually, and I can respect you as you are, where you are, for who you are. And I can just be like, okay, well, you are like whether it's, like you are a racist, or you are a bad person, or you are a murderer, or you are a whatever. Like those, I can respect you for being who you are. The bad person immediately moves us into, if I say I can respect you as a bad person, what I'm doing is I can respect you within the spectrum of duality, right? But non-dual means that there is no separation. Means that there is no bad person. Like, yes, okay, you may murder people, and that is okay. And like, I can meet you in mutuality. I can meet you as you are, and I don't have to judge that. The master gets the job done without moving a muscle, and signifies without saying a word. That's just, you can just like Isabel and I were talking, like, even though I said, I love you, and I love being here, and I feel you, like, all of that was being done without moving a muscle and without saying a word. And yet I needed to say a word, because here in this world, it's so nice to say a word, to be able to experience and express ourselves in a way that is understood and immediately impacted. When things around us fall apart, they stay cool and don't own, they and stay cool. Yeah, right. When things, we was talking to Lois earlier. Things around her were not necessarily falling apart, but things around her were not as she wanted them to be. But the master is able to stay cool under those circumstances, and that's what she's working on. And we're all working on that. We're all working on staying cool when things are fucked up. They don't own much, but they use whatever's at hand. It's not about owning a whole lot of things, but it's about being resourceful with what's around you. They do the work without expecting any favors. So Sisyphus just pushes that pushes that boulder up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. It's not expecting anybody to come around and help him out. It's just like, if somebody does, great, he'll take the help, but he is just pushing that boulder up the hill, and that is the work. If he were to define it as bad, then something else would become good, and he would be in a situation in which it was bad, and it would just get worse as he started to create the spectrum. When the job is finished, they move on to the next job. And that's such an important thing. When, today I'll do an on recovery talk. And when the Tao of the day is done, I'll put it on the podcast. I'll put it on my website, and then it'll be done. And I'll move on to the next job. As soon as I'm done talking, I will start moving it to this other place. And then, and here at the end, that's why their work is so damn good, because I can just let it be. Just let it be what it is. We were talking about that with Isabel, the idea of creation and being able to create something and let it go out into the world and be what it is without me having to hold on to it. And that's a great thing. It's wonderful to be able to do that. So, I challenge each and every one of you to do your work and let it go as much as you can today. I'm Martin John. This is Recover. No, this isn't Recover Yourself. Let me start that again. I'm your host, Martin John. This is Tao of the Day. If you wanted to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81, I would love to have you up. If nobody wants to come up, I am going to shut down for the day. Tomorrow, once again, I will be on ass early in the morning, because I got a flight that I'll have to leave at 9 o'clock for, and I don't want to rush and anything like that. So I'll be on very early tomorrow to do a Tao of the day for you, with you, and around you. Love you guys so much. Once again, I work with a limited number of clients one-on-one every month. I only work with 10 people a month. And working with me only requires 4 sessions, and you get to experience yourself in a way that you never have before, because I help you recover who you are. And who are you? You're a master as it relates to the Tao. So we can get you there together. And if you want to keep going and you want to keep growing, reach out to me on Instagram or through any resource that you can find here on Wisdom. Thank you once again for joining me on Wisdom. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.